Alright, Merry Christmas. This is going to be a weekly recap from the 19th to the 23rd, and I had a total of 5 trades, and all of them were profitable, but none of these setups, except for it seems like these two, really worked out, that it got to maybe a goal like VWAP or some kind of a nice uptrend. It seems like none of them just really worked, except for this one here with LKNCY and this one again with BIEI, and we'll go over those two. My average percent gain was very small, 1.5%. That's horrible. And my average dollar position size was $312. And I made 23 bucks with $1,500 of trading volume. So that's not horrible, but I don't like how I have such a small percent gain, especially because there were two setups here that seem to have offered more than just something as small as that. Let's take a look and see where I can do better. And let's begin with the first trade, which is DPLS on the 19th. So let's look at DPLS, which is already here. And the 19th is going to be this day. Okay, so yeah, it had a nice uptrend, nice volume. Red day here didn't really do very much. It could have easily have the next day continued to run and break this level and become like a nice breakout setup. Or if it's in the morning, a nice morning spike as well. This was the sell-off day. Didn't really do that. Didn't continue for more than just one day, at least in in that sense. Looking at the chart right here, up to this day, I was in at 936 at 13 and a half, and this was a morning panic bounce play and a voice crack. 936 right here, 13 and a half. Why was I in it? Again, morning panic bounce play. Not necessarily the best daily chart, but because it was up so much this one day here and it had a lot of volume, I thought, even though it hasn't really been uptrending over, a few days or something like that, for a nice morning panic bounce play to work. Again, this one just had a nice uptrend and a lot of volume, so I thought it made up. And I was in it right here at 13 and a half, thinking that it was going to make a move towards VWAP, and worst case scenario, cut the trade if it looks like it's going to break the day low, which is right here at 129. I was out 939 at 1361, so 939 was right here when I saw my last piece, 1361. So I ended up selling right around here, not that much further from my entry at 135. And let's look at my notes. I like how I didn't sell my first amount a minute later. Bad price action and chart. It did get to 14 briefly, but never at VWAP. And let's confirm. Yeah, it did get to 14.4. This would have been hard to sell because that would have been a sell at the ask, but there was a point. Yeah, just 2 minutes after I sold where it could have gone to 14.1, and maybe I could have sold it. But again, I saw something with the price action that just gave me vibes that it wasn't really going to make it. It never did get to VWAP, which is 14.6, and this one did continue the downtrend over a longer period of time. So, yeah, it just didn't really work out that much, and that seems to be the case with that. And it was just a scratch for what that was. Let's look at the next trade, which is LKNCY on the 19th. 19th is going to be right here, and the setup I took with this was actually something I wanted to hold on to for a longer period of time, which actually would have played out because it did nicely uptrend the next few days. But the issue is that it just really worked out a little too much for what I thought the setup was going to do. Let's go ahead and highlight, I guess, yeah, let's highlight the whole day. Why not? Here's the 19th. I was in at 10.11 at 22.67, and this was a swing bull flag. So let's actually zoom in more. 10.11 was right here, and I was in at this 22.64 level, or what was it? 22.67, 67 at 10.11. Right here, I was in it. I think around the top of this green candle. And why did I get in this setup? Because it looked like a bull flag looking at it here, and even up to this point right here, the 19th is going to be right there. It doesn't really show too much on this chart because it doesn't go over a longer period of days, but it looks like a bull flag right here, and I was in it for that reason. I also liked how it was under VWAP after it was selling off a bit, and I thought it could turn around. It was also like at its lows before it, finished where it is right now on the chart as this nice green candle. It looks like a potential setup that I could hold on to for a longer period of time. The issue is that it just really worked a little too well. I got out at 1023, my last piece, and I was out at 2315. That was my average. So 1023 was right here, and I was out at, I believe, what was it, 13? 2315 at 1023. Right here is when I got out, roughly my average, and it just worked out too much. I wanted it to just uptrend over a longer period of time in multiple days, but when it spikes the way it does right here, nice and quickly, I also think it's going to downtrend nice and quickly. So the only lesson I had right here, although I did my best for what I was able to do at that point, is that if I'm in a setup that I want to have as a swing setup and it just works out a little too quickly, what I'm going to do is just have a trend line in this case, maybe off of this candle or this one right here, and then just have a trend line and simply get out when it breaks the trend line. And that would have allowed me to have sold much higher and much more profitably. But that's totally fine. If I do the same thing where I'm in a setup and I want to hold on to it for a really long period of time, but it just keeps uptrending that same day and really working out, almost like in this case right here, I thought some short seller was just getting liquidated. I need to have a trend line. And if I don't do that, if I just sell early, for no particular reason, no trend line, that'll be bad. The lesson was learned with that trade. Let's look at BIEI on the 20th. BIEI is right here. And this is the 20th. So nice first green day, second green day, third green day. Not so much, but look where it opened. It could have been something for a nice morning spike. And this is the 20th right here. A nice morning spike above the previous day high, or in this case, since it opened above it a little, something where you can find maybe multiple confirmations that it might morning spike and then trade it for a setup. But I don't think this was it. Let's see. I was in at 939 at subpenny level 51, and this was a reversal long, big sell-off volume. So 939.51. Let's zoom in a bit more. 939 was right here, and I was in it at 51, so I got in it right here. So why? Essentially, it was uptrending and all, and it wasn't doing too well. Struggling to break above 53, and then when it started the downtrend, and we had this one candle where it just had all of this volume, all of this selling price action, and then it made a wick under VWAP. I thought it was the case where maybe it wasn't able to break above 53 because there are too many sellers. And then when we had this candle here with all this volume, I thought maybe it could wipe out all of those sellers, and then it could try to uptrend and break the 53 level and continue the uptrend over a longer period of time, especially looking at this daily chart. Again, hindsight 2020, but still thinking that maybe where it is with the open at 48, it can continue and be a nice third green day. I did get out the same minute at 52. So right here, I got out the same minute at the very top of the candle. And let's take a look at why. Okay, so I don't like the way I traded this one right here. I probably just didn't like the price action. Something threw me off and I got out of it for that reason. And this would have been the kind of trade where if I stuck to my risk level, which would have been the bottom of this wick breaking, I would have been able to have held on to the setup and maybe sell better. And especially here when it started to break that 53 level again. But the volume isn't really there also. That's one thing to take into consideration. But I could have sold much better. Let's just see what a sell at 54 would have been, just to get an idea. Yeah, it would have been a nice percent gain. And I am trading just a $50 risk level, half of whatever my regular dollar risk level is with OTCs, with sub pennies, because those setups don't seem to work that well with me. And yeah, that's a good lesson with that one. Just stick to your plan and try not to get too shaken out of it. It's not like, it did anything to even break the day low. It just kind of threw me off. And yeah, could have been more profitable there. Let's look at and let me just see, did this one? Yeah, I did say that the setup worked out. I just didn't trade it as well. Okay. Let's look at DPLS on the 21st. 21st is going to be right here, so not very significant, kind of similar to a few OTCs that just have been selling off, and then it has a little uptrend and then it sells off again, and then it just makes a smaller bounce. Again, a few days after that trade right here, where it could have continued, but it didn't. And let's highlight the 21st, which is going to be here. Yeah, really nothing going on, at least compared to the other ones. I was in at 931 at 1 penny, and this was a morning spike, round number breakout, daily reversal chart. So 931 right here, and I was in at 1 penny. Why? Well, the idea was that I had a nice uptrend and everything. It sold off and it's kind of hanging around near the low. So then I thought this could be something where it can try to reverse over a longer period of time and maybe try to uptrend again. And then on top of that, there was volume in the morning, right at the market open and the next minutes at 9:31 when I entered, thinking that it wasn't just, having all of these things giving it a potential for it to reverse, but on top of that, right at the morning, we had good volume, and it was looking like it was going to break above the round number of 1 penny. So I thought, this would be great. I'm in it right here, looking like it's going to break above it, and then it's going to uptrend and be super profitable. The volume is going to continue and head towards the upside, especially because it's been selling off for a while, and now it can reverse and, just be something that would be very profitable. It did uptrend, as you can see. I got as high as 106, but this price action doesn't look too nice. I got out at 950, and my average combined, I guess, altogether was roughly 102. Let's look at 950, which was, did I really? Okay, yeah, as you can see, it doesn't really trade that much. 950 was right here, and I got out at 102 roughly, so I got out right here. And I was in it right here, and it looks like it's only been 5 minutes, right? But this thing was just freaky. As you can see right here at 9:31, and then the next candle here, 9:35, there was 4 minutes with zero price action. And it was just not trading that well. It didn't have volume. It didn't have, price action going on. And I did sell partly for that reason. And I was also selling because I think there was a resistance level here at 104 with a lot of sellers, and I think an even bigger one at 107, which I never got to. So nothing wrong with that one. It just didn't have the volume to really trade it, even with the size that I trade. Let's look at the last trade, which is LWLG on the 22nd. 22nd is right here. Pretty nice because it's been breaking this multi-day low at 614. And we did have like a mega sell-off day right here with a lot of volume, so maybe I'm trading it for something that could ideally turn around over a longer period of time. Let's look at the 22nd, which is at this point here. I was in at 1007 at 489, and this was a reversal long, so 1007 was going to be here at 49, I believe. Yeah, 49 at 1007. So why did I get in this? Again, it was just downtrending over a longer period of time, and I just thought it was going to reverse from, it going down to hitting a bottom for some reason, which in this case was just me feeling like it was going to turn around, and it ideally now reversing into uptrending, movements, and no longer selling off, so I can be in right when it does that momentum shift and be profitable. I got out at 1012 at 492. Let's just say 493 at 1012. 1012 was right here, and I got out at 493. Essentially, we did hit a top right here. It didn't make a move towards VWAP, which would have been the goal. It just had like a ceiling here. It hit a roadblock, and I sold it as it was downtrending after hitting that roadblock. I don't think I like the way I traded it too much because, I mean, in theory, it could have just hit like a little roadblock, right? And maybe it could have had the majority of my shares sold, and then You know, once I see it fail again here at 1017 and it starts a downtrend, I could sell everything else. I would have given it more of a chance for it to uptrend, and maybe it could get to VWAP, but it did sell off right here. But let's see what a good example would have been if it were to have gotten to the goal of VWAP, and that would have been actually mega profitable because this was a larger position size, and this is a listed stock, not an OTC, but it does trade like an OTC, and it used to be an OTC. So yeah, that's the case with that. Definitely, there were some setups that could have traded better and been more profitable. Even this one right here, it wouldn't have been profitable because it never got to be wet. But if it were to have worked, I would have been upset. And maybe that's why I'll actually downgrade this to kinda, because I didn't actually. Oh, I see. I got it messed up right here. Yeah. No. Yeah, this is where I. Okay. Yeah, the first one is did the setup work. This one is how did I trade it, and this one did I trade according to my dollar risk level. So, okay, that's right. So then at this point, I'm gonna make this a 2, and then a 3, and that brings that down to a C. But it's an honest C. That's it for this weekly recap right here. I look forward to rewatching this so I can really absorb it, and definitely I need to keep using trend lines. It seems to be something that consistently works over a longer period of time. It might change, but at least for now it works. And yeah, that's pretty much it for this recap.